Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ahmed Teranaidan, and today I'm going to talk about something that often gets overlooked when people prepare for speeches. The conclusion. It's easy to get caught up in writing a great opening or developing strong main points, but how you end your speech is just as important, if not more. Your conclusion is the last thing your audience will hear. It leaves your final chance to leave them with something meaningful. Let's start with the introduction. Let's think about this. Have you ever watched a movie with an amazing start and great acting, but the end felt rushed or confusing? It kind of ruins the whole experience, right? Same principle always applies to public speaking. People tend to remember the first and last thing you say. If your ending lacks purpose, clarity, or energy, it can overshadow everything that came before it. So today, I'm going to show you how to end a speech effectively, how to wrap things up in a way that's organized, intentional, leaves your audience with a clear message. Here are the goals of a speech conclusion. According to Chapter 10 of The Art of Public Speaking, there are two main goals every speech conclusion should accomplish. 1. Signal the end of the speech, and 2. Reinforce the central idea. Although it sounds simple, it does take skill. Signaling the end helps the audience refocus for your final words. Reinforcing your central message ensures they leave with your key takeaway in mind. Signaling the end. Let's start with signaling the end. This is the moment where you're guiding your audience into your final part of your speech. It's a verbal signpost that lets them know the conclusion is coming. You can use phrases like, in conclusion, to wrap things up, let me leave you with this. Without this cue, your audience might miss your most important points. Once I watched a classmate give a really thoughtful speech, but when it ended, it felt like it just stopped without a warning. Just no signal at all. People clapped, but you could understand that they were confused, and we were all thinking of the same thing, that it just didn't end right. That experience showed me how critical it is to let people know you're finishing it. It gives them a chance to tune back and listen to what really matters. Alright. Reinforcing the central idea. After signaling the end, you need to reinforce your central idea. That doesn't mean repeating everything you've already said. It means summarizing the core message in a simple and memorable way. Let's say your speech is about the importance of sleep for teenagers. A strong ending might sound like this. Getting enough sleep isn't just about feeling rested. It helps us stay focused, improves our mood, and keeps our minds sharp. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. That line reminds the audience of your main message and ties the whole speech together. Here are types of strong endings. So now that we've talked about what your ending should do, let's talk about how you can deliver it. Alright, here are 4 strong ways to conclude a speech. You can use a quotation, you can make a dramatic statement, you can refer back to your introduction, you can build a crescendo, which is probably the best one. Each of these methods can give your speech a sense of power, clarity, and completeness. Let's break them down. Referring to the introduction. One effective way to wrap up your speech is to bring it a full circle. If you you started your speech with a story, a powerful quote, or even a question, you can return to that at the end. This creates unity and gives the audience the feeling that your message was well thought out from beginning to end. Here is an example. Once in 8th grade, I completely froze during a class presentation. I stood there, quiet, heart racing, till the teacher told me to just get it on over with. So, if I began a speech with that story, I might end it by saying, the same student who froze in class, in front of the class, is now standing here, sharing what he's learned, proving that fear doesn't have to have the final word. That kind of callback gives your speech depth and emotional impact. Alright, moving on to the crescendo conclusion. Another powerful strategy is the crescendo conclusion. This means your speech builds in strength and intensity, rising in emotion and energy until your final sentence. Think of the speeches that move you most. They don't end quietly, they end with conviction. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech is a perfect example for this. His voice grows stronger, his messages more passionate, and by the end, many people were left inspired. Even in a classroom speech, you can still do this. For example, if you were speaking about climate change, your ending might sound like, "So let's stop waiting for someone else to fix it. Let's recycle, reduce waste, and raise our voices. Because our future isn't written yet, but we're the ones holding the pen." That's a crescendo. It lifts the room. Next, tips for a memorable ending. Let's finish with a few tips to make your ending as strong as possible. Practice your conclusion more than any other part. It's where the pressure hits. Knowing your last lines helps you finish confidently. Don't trail off. Deliver your final sentence with clarity and intention. Memorize your closing words so you can maintain eye contact and avoid reading. Pause after your final line. Don't rush to say thank you. Let those last words sink into the folks' minds. A good ending leaves people thinking, but a great ending leaves them feeling something going on in their heads. So, my final thoughts. To wrap things up, remember this. A strong conclusion doesn't just stop the speech, it gives it purpose. It brings everything together. It leaves your audience with something to remember. Whether you end with a story, a powerful quote, a bold call to action, or a quiet moment of reflection, just make it count. Because when the words are over, what's left is the feeling, and that feeling comes from your final message. How you might end a speech might just be how people remember you. Thank you for listening.